So, welcome to the Happy Mindset, where we use the power of language and storytelling to help you find your voice. Today's episode is episode number 52, and today's episode title is called Olympic Mindset. So, today I'm joined by Julie McDonald. Julie held the Commonwealth record for the 800 meters freestyle for 21 years, and she still holds one of the top 5 times Australia has ever produced. Julie is also a dual Olympian, competing in 1988 and 1992. She's also a dual Commonwealth Games representative in 1986 and 1990. Julie represented Australia in swimming in every Australian team from 1986 until 1992, captaining 2 of these teams. Julie was the only Australian female to win an Olympic medal in the 1988 Seoul Olympic Games, winning a bronze medal in the 800-meter freestyle. On today's episode, Julie talks about how she became an Olympic athlete. She talks about her transition from Olympic athlete to human being. She talks about how she overcame health difficulties such as septicemia and melanoma. And finally, she talks about a new technology that has helped her body to heal. So I really enjoyed talking to Julie. She shared a lot of wisdom. It was great getting inside the mind of an Olympic athlete and learning more about the mindset and the mental game to swimming. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. I hope you take some value from it, from the insights that Julie shares. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love it if you give a rating and a review so more people can find the podcast and the guests that we have on here sharing some gems of wisdom. So thanks again for listening, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Okay, so thanks for joining us today, Julie.
Thank you.
So who are you and what are you doing in the world today?
So my name is Julie McDonald, and I am a mum. I am a Olympic swimmer. I competed in 2 Olympic and 2 Commonwealth Games, Commonwealth Games for Australia. Also competed in other international meets all over the world. And my life so far, I've had a couple of health challenges in my 20s. I had septicemia, I had stage 2 melanoma, and I also had chlorine poisoning. So it set me on a path of seeking for help rather than trying to treat illness.
That's quite a big story. We'll start with the Olympics, I guess, first, because I've never had an Olympic athlete and a medalist as well. So you've won a bronze medal in the 1988 Olympic Games. So how did you get there? Was it always a dream you had, or where did it begin?
Yeah, so I live in Brisbane in Queensland, Australia, which is the East Coast, and we have beautiful beaches here, and we always say the best beaches in the world. And we used to go to the beach a lot when we were kids, and mum and dad wanted us to be strong swimmers. So my brother's 4 years older than me, so the idea was to take us down to the local pool, learn to swim, so that we could be safe in the surf and, obviously not drown. And from the moment that I started learning to swim, I just loved it. And it was something, I don't know, I was born to swim. I just, really enjoyed it, and started competing at my school. And every Friday night we would have club night, and where you just get up and you race everybody. And I loved it. I'm super competitive, not a great person to play board games with. I just love winning. I just, if someone says there's a competition on, I'm all over it. And I, really enjoyed that aspect of pushing myself and just seeing, what times I could do, how fast could I swim, who could I beat? Could I beat the older girls? And I guess when I was about 9, Mum took me to a local pool here in Brisbane, and all the Olympians were there, and I went around and got all their autographs. I still have that autograph book in my bookcase, and a lot of those athletes, I ended up being on the same team as them, many years later. And so for me, that's what ignited the dream, was that I just loved it. And meeting these Olympians, and the first time I heard about the Olympics, I thought, oh, that sounds like fun, something to go to. So that's really where it all started.
So when did you start believing you could be an Olympian? Was there a specific time when you started believing that, or did it just happen?
So I guess for me that oh, my dog wants to get out. Oh.
Sorry.
Hang on. Well, no, he's worked it out. He's pushed the door open. He's awesome. What a great dog. So for me, I guess it was, you know, when I was 12, I competed in my first state titles. So, and won a medal, and that was great. And then when I was 14, I won my first gold medal at the state titles. And that was the same year as the 84 Olympics. And we had 7 Olympians in our squad in those 84 Olympics. And that was, I think, for me, we had a guy in our squad called John Sieben, and he was the underdog. He swam the 200 fly. He wasn't expected to win a medal, really. He made the final, and, you know, we always say once you're in the final, anything can happen. And it was his 200 meters butterfly race that, you know, I remember so clearly. I remember sitting on the couch. I remember getting off the couch and cheering and screaming at the TV, going, "Come on, Jono, go!" And I remember the moment he touched that wall and he had beaten Michael Gross, who was the West German world record holder. Jono, I remember Jono turning and seeing number 1 beside his name on the scoreboard and putting his arm up in victory. And I turned to my mum and I said, "I'm going to go to the next Olympics." And she looked at me and she said, "Well, sweetheart, if you train hard enough, you'll get there." Mm-hmm. And that was it. That was the moment. And my coach came back with all these guys. You know, another guy in our squad had a bronze medal. And when I saw those medals, I just thought, oh, I want one of those. And that was the moment I made that commitment to myself and to my dream.
So what was it like actually winning a medal, the bronze medal in the Olympic Games? Because you were the only female too that year for Australia to win a medal too, I think.
Yes, so I swam in the era of the dominance of the Eastern Bloc countries. So a lot of drug taking, a lot of steroid abuse, and I guess the first moment I met the women that I was going to be racing against in '88 was at the '86 World Championships, and I knew that I had to do something special. I had to be different to everyone else, because if I was going to be competitive with these girls in '88, I had to, you know, basically try and beat the boys in training and be competitive with them, so that then it was going to be harder for these girls to beat me. So, you know, the lot went on before I got to those blocks. But when I did get to the blocks, I was in lane 3, and I knew that I had done everything possible. I knew I could be competitive. I knew I, you know, couldn't have done anything else. And the race, the first 400 meters of I was 800 freestyler. The first 400 meters, I didn't have my rhythm. I didn't feel good at all. And when I turned at the 400 meter mark, I remember thinking about John Sieben and how he raced in '84 and how he had come home that last half of the race. And I just screamed myself underwater and I said, "Come on." And I just started catching people and getting in front of them. And it's windy night. And just mowing them down. And, you know, the last 50 of that race, I was a body length ahead of one of the East Germans, Anki Mooring. And I knew those East Germans were going to be able to sprint home that last 50. So all I could think about was put your head down, you know, think about all the things that my coach would tell me, push back hard, you know, kick your legs, rhythm, you know, keep it strong. And with 25 meters to go, I breathed on my right-hand side and I saw that Anki Mooring was dead level with me. And with 20 meters to go, I took the biggest breath of my life and I didn't breathe again until I slammed my hand on that wall and turned around to see the scoreboard. And when it slowly ticked over, number 3, Julie McDonald, the first feeling I felt was relief that I'd done it, and then joy and exhilaration and you know, such incredible emotion that I was an Olympic bronze medalist and I'd beaten her by 0.1 of a second. So, you know, what's it like to stand up on the victory dais and watch your flag being raised with the medal around your neck it really is something that, you know, you can relive so many times in your life, because you get asked to speak at, you know, schools and corporations, and you get to relive that moment. And I remember watching the flag being raised and looking at my medal and thinking about all the times that I wanted to give up. I thought about all the times that I'd cried myself to sleep, cried because my arms were so sore, and I didn't think I was going to be able to wake up the next morning and do it all again. You know, but I'd get up at 4:30 and go. And I thought about all those times, and I just looked at this medal and I thought, gee, I'm glad I never gave up, you know, and that's what I thought about. I'm not sure what other people think about, but for me, that was the moment that I thought it's all worth it.
So how important is the mental game when it comes to swimming?
It's anyone that has to get up at 4:30 in the morning. Now, you might laugh at me, but here in Brisbane, for us it gets cold. Okay. For you, it's probably your summer weather, but
yeah.
You know, when we're getting up at 4:30 in the morning, it's pitch black, it's cold outside, and you've got to get your gear off and put swimmers on and dive into a cold pool. You know, that takes commitment and dedication, and you know, if unless you really want something, it's hard to do it well. And you know, there's a lot of things that I used, little tools that I had in my toolbox that would help me. So one of those things was that I had a little sign on my wall that I'd stuck there, and it said, "I'm tired and I'd like to sleep in, but that won't help me. In 1986, going training will help me." And every year I'd cross out the 86 and put 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. And so there was, you know, I would read that sign. As soon as the alarm would go off, I would read that. Sometimes I only needed to read it once. Other times I needed to read it 3 times. But beside that was a picture of John Sieben winning his Olympic gold medal. And I would look at that and I'd be out of bed. You know, so it's tough. It's, you know, I had moments where I was training and I'd have a 10-year-old swim past me because my body was just so exhausted that I couldn't do any better. So those days I would, you know, either do backstroke or I would, you know, put on what we call a drag suit, which is basically like a pair of shorts with a drawstring waist, and it had the pockets on the outside, but they were pockets that you could, that would catch the water. So I'd chuck on a drag suit and I would just sit at the back of the line and do everything with a drag suit on, or I would get a rubber band and put it around my legs so I couldn't kick, so I would just be dragging my legs. So there were things that I would do that I'd still do the mileage, but I may not have been hitting the times that I should have been. And it's just adapting your training session to be able to suit where you're at that time.
So, like, is adaptability key to overcoming the self-doubt there? Like, is somebody in a pool and a 10-year-old go passing them by, like self-doubt can emerge there and they might just kind of quit or just go, I'm not good enough. Did you find adapting the situation to like how your body was feeling and stuff helped you?
I think like when you're young, you know, I don't think I ever had any self-doubt until, gosh, I think maybe the first time I saw the East German women. I looked at them, I thought, oh my goodness, you know, like, heck, I'll never be able to beat them, right? So there you go, there's your first, you know, lock that away. But I think that the training by doing the training well, allows you that knowledge that I have done everything that I can, that you can step up behind the blocks and go, you know, to yourself, there's no one here that's trained harder than me. So if you have that knowledge, then you have that belief, and that belief then becomes very powerful in the sense that, you know that you can be very competitive. you know, mindset is that, you know, we always believed we were going to make the Olympics, and we just didn't focus on making the Olympics. We focused on winning medals. And you have to set your goals really high. You know, when you get one shot every 4 years. So unless you're aiming for the gold medal, you know, we weren't there to just make the Australian team. That wasn't going to be good enough for us. You know, our culture in our squad was very much that we're winning medals. That's why we're going, not just going for a holiday and you know, mind you, there are some athletes out there that just focus on making the team and then they back off, you know, and I could never understand that. You know, I'm far too competitive for that. So for me, it was about that mindset of we're going and we're winning medals. So regardless of what gets thrown in our path, we find a way either over it, around it, under it to get there.
So like in that time too, did you compare yourself to yourself or did you compare yourself to others? How did you find that balance? Sometimes you can over-focus on what everybody else is doing and forget about what you're doing. How did you find that balance for yourself?
I think as I've gotten older, I've found that I compare myself to others. When I was younger, for me, it was just that I was on a mission and that I wasn't going to let anyone get in the way of my mission. And you know, as cruelly as maybe this sounds, I really felt that in our squad there were, you know, there's always going to be people trying to pull you down, right? Australians, we have this, I say great, we have this horrible culture called tall poppy syndrome. And we want to, if someone gets to the top, we want to pull them back down to where everyone else is, right? Let's not celebrate, let's pull them back down. So, you know, I know that there were people in our squad, you know, that would not want me to get ahead, that would, you know, either say things or, you know, not speak to me or, you know, start crazy stuff, rumors and things like that would, you know, try and put me off my game so that, you know, that I wouldn't be as more successful than what they would be. So, you know, you come up against that a lot. And, you know, you got to remember that when you're making the Olympic team, it's got to be, you're going to be first or second to touch the wall. There's no, oh, you come again next week and have another try. On that day, if you're not first or second, you don't make the team. So you have to be on top of your game to be able to be in that total mindset that you are on that team and that you are going to be swimming perfectly and the best that you can on that day. And, you know, a lot of stuff comes around that. You know, we have a 12-week, what we call a taper, where we start backing off the training program. And that last week we're doing very minimal work so that we're resting our body ready to be able to swim as fast as we can. So it's interesting, I find, as I get older, there have been some comparisons to people, and when I find myself doing it, I have to remind myself what I've achieved, and then also what my purpose is and what's my mission now, and that my mission might be different to somebody else's, so I don't compare. So then there's no reason to compare. And it's hard, you know, anything, you know, once you're delving with mindset, all those old beliefs and things like that raise themselves, you know, you really have to be aware. Once you're conscious of that, I just find it a lot simpler, a lot easier to be able to then go, okay, so, and this is what I coach when I'm coaching people, is once you can recognize that, then what's the opposite? What is it that you really want? You know, and for example, if I wake up in the middle of the night, and it's very easy for the brain to start going, right? The thoughts start. So my partner and I have this thing now where if we wake up in the middle of the night and we think, oh, heck, I'm awake and I'm not going to go back to sleep easily, then you say affirmations to yourself and you can go off to sleep like that. It's quite incredible.
Be conscious of it, yeah. I think once you're conscious, you've got a choice. So how about
Yes,
natural?
always have.
Yeah. So how about natural talent? Where do you see natural talent's place in becoming an Olympian?
You always have people on the Olympic team that have natural talent, and then you have the athletes that I call, like myself, that had to work our butts off to get there. You know, I'm just going to say, my puppy wants to say hello. This is Rocky. He wants to be on Mum's lap, so he hasn't got his jammies on yet. So there's always those two people, those two lots, right? You've got those people that are really good at everything, you know, and you go, oh, I hate you, you know. Doesn't matter what sport you turn your hand to, you're amazing. You know, that's not me. Hand-eye coordination's not great. But I had that desire, and I had that mission of wanting to get to the Olympic team and win a medal. So for me, I knew that it was going to take a lot of hard work. You know, in my peak, I was swimming 100 kilometres a week, you know, anywhere between 80 to 100 kilometres a week, doing dry land as well. And so, whereas I knew there were people that in our squad even that could just turn up, their training would consist of, you know, sitting on the bottom of the pool, doing a few duck dives, you know, and then get to a race and swim incredibly well. Now, their career in the sport wasn't very long, but they still made an Olympic team, you know. And for me, I think that the best athletes, I think if you surveyed everybody, I think the majority of athletes are the ones that make it, are the ones that have to work really hard to get there. And you're going to have your few in each sport that are exceptional athletes, you know, like Michael Jordan or, you know, Michael Phelps, that are just standouts that people go, wow, they're freaks of nature. But I think the majority are the ones that just, you know, head down, bum up, away they go.
Mm. Yeah, there's always some outliers and stuff, isn't there? So after your career, what was it like transition? Coming out of being an Olympic swimmer and a Commonwealth athlete?
So for the first time I retired after 92, I had septicemia in Barcelona from an infected wisdom tooth. I went ranked in #1 in the world, and I didn't even make finals. So for me, I was pretty destroyed emotionally and very challenged with that. And so I just went into the workforce for a couple of years, and then I decided to get back in the water for, so initially, every time I went to a corporate event, I would collect business cards from people that I'd met, and I would put them in a folder. And when I retired after 92, I pulled out that folder and I started calling these people. I said, and because I would write on them where I met them. You know, hi, I met you at, you know, this conference, and I've now finished my swimming career. I'm looking for a job. You know, is there any way I can get a job? And, you know, there'd always be, you know, what skills do you have? Have you done any study? And of course I hadn't. And so then I got to M before anyone said to me, if you can come in tomorrow, we're starting a course, you can start tomorrow. So my self-esteem from A to M had somewhat taken a beating. But I think that again, that mindset of you got to keep, you know, turning over the rocks, find the person that's going to, you know, help you. And then when I made a comeback in 95, I had a different experience. I came back in 95, I had 3 years off, rocked up to the pool pretty unfit, and started training, got to the Olympic trials. I got third at the Olympic trials, which meant I missed out. But I noticed a massive difference in my mindset. My mindset was that, you know, and my belief of myself was that you can do anything if you want to. And then people started ringing me, offering me jobs. It was just really crazy. And then I'd get headhunted, you know, and I just sort of thought, what an interesting change that was, from almost begging for a job after I'd finished Barcelona to then, you know, being headhunted for jobs after that, after missing out on Atlanta. So, yeah, it was really interesting how that happened. I had a lot of challenges, mentally. When you're going away with let's say this, swim team, there's 42 of you on the team. You're with each other for about 3 months at that time. Apart from the time that you're training with your teammates, you become a family, and you come home from the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games, and you're in your own bed, and you wake up the next morning and you don't have to get up for training, and you're alone. And there's no teammates around you. Can't walk down the hallway and there's going to be a group of people there and socializing. And for some of us, so after 88, after 92, obviously I was, not working. I wasn't at school. So for me, that was, quite, I felt isolated. And a lot of athletes, I think, struggle with that. And it is difficult. And so I threw myself into, some sort of career to start off with. But I always find that there were times where throughout my careers that a situation would happen and I would have this massive self-doubt and this incredible sense of I'm not significant anymore, or who am I now that I'm not a swimmer? And, what is my identity? Because, my whole life people had known me as a swimmer. And for me, one of the biggest challenges was that I would have friends that would, you'd go somewhere at a party and they'd say, hey, this is Julie McDonald. She's an Olympic swimmer. She's an Olympic bronze medalist. And you're like, hi, my name's Julie. And I'm a person and I have feelings. And, I had to cull friendships because they just wanted to be my friend because I was an Olympic swimmer. And that was my perception. And I didn't enjoy that. I don't think anyone would enjoy that. And I think you find, they always say you by the end of your life, you have five people that are what you call really close friends. And it's always it had been up until about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, a challenge for me to be able to just cut people and just realize, okay, they're just not along for the ride, or, and I think that for me was the most challenging because I'm very social and I love being around people. So for me to start understanding that people were just wanting to be my friend so that they could say to their friends, oh, Julie McDonald's my friend. I really struggled. And then I guess probably about 10 years ago, I had a bit of a situation where I was at a very low point, and always believe that you meet people for a reason. And I ran into a person that had been my old neighbour years before, had lost contact, and he was a hypnotherapist. And he wasn't when I knew him, but he'd become a hypnotherapist. And he was telling me about it. And I must have had written on my forehead, like chicken on a stage type hypnotherapy, right? And I'm like, that's really left field, And he's like, he goes, it's not like the entertainment stuff, would love you to come and have some sessions because I can really help some athletes, that And I'm like, yeah, I'm open. I'll try this. And what an experience. I had 3 sessions with this guy and it changed my life. I walked out of that 3rd session and I felt like I could have walked up on the blocks and raced anyone. Just the confidence and the belief in myself again was phenomenal. So I'm a big advocate for seeking help when you need it, and don't be afraid of saying, hey, listen, I struggled, and because so many people do. And unfortunately, a lot of athletes have taken their own lives because they don't feel that they have an identity. And, if I can help change someone's mind of that's one part of your life, what's next? What are you really passionate about doing? Then for me, that will be very helpful.
What did the process look like when you were questioning who is Julie after you were a swimmer?
Sorry, what was that again?
What did the process look like when you started having those questions of who am I after you were no longer a swimmer?
Yeah, you have to delve deep, right? You have to think. I do a lot of personal development. I still do. I really feel that if I can be the best version of myself, then I can pass on that knowledge to someone else. So I'm a big advocate for that. And I think that's where I started, on that path then, seeking answers. And I think for me it was delving deep, and one of my favorite questions is that if $5 million got dumped into your bank account today, what would you do with yourself? What are you truly passionate about that you would get up out of bed every morning for and want to do? And for some people it's building water wells in Africa, or whatever that is. For everyone's going to be different. But I think if you take away a lot of today's pressures, which is mostly financial pressures and stress and things like that, if you can take that away and effort, give someone the moment of what that would feel like for them, what would they really want to do? And so that's what I did. I just sort of go, what is it that I'm really passionate about? What do I do? And, when I had all the different careers that I had, I think I changed every 18 months. I changed career, whether I got made redundant or I got sick of it. It was because I was seeking, I was constantly seeking that satisfaction and that same feeling of being fulfilled in something. And I think that, until we find what we're really excited about or passionate about, whatever you want to say, I think then a lot of people out there are feeling unfulfilled. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, is helping them reconnect with their life and their passions to help them identify that and then go and see it. Because you're never too old, right? You're never too old to change careers or what you're doing. I've seen it so many times, and I want to instill that in people, is that it's never too late.
Mm. What sort of stuff started showing up when you started asking that question? What are you most passionate about? If you have $5 million,
tears showed up. I tell you what did show up was, I guess for me it was looking at myself in the mirror and being happy with who I am and who I am now. It's wonderful to be able to pick up my medal and have a look at it, but it feels like a lifetime ago. And it was, it was 30 years ago. And then, so when I do that now, when I go, okay, what is your purpose now? What are you doing? And you think that happened 30 years ago. What have you done with your life between now and then? Like, oh, well, half that, I guess I raised a child, so that was all right. But I think for me, it's always going to be confronting when you start asking yourself those questions. And so the hardest part is to do it when you're standing in front of a mirror. I don't know if you've ever done any mirror work, but, when you're standing in front of a mirror and going, who are you? What do you stand for? What are your morals and your ethics? And, what will you not compromise for? I think it took me months to be able to stand in front of a mirror and say, I love you. I love you for who you are. And I can still feel that emotion, right? I can still feel it. So it's for me, I always laugh and I say, I'm an onion, and I peel off a layer, and then there's another layer, and you peel off that, and it's just being okay with what comes up. It's for me, it was, am I good enough? I was told by someone that I really respected, and that my bronze medal wasn't good enough. And, that really hurt, and it affected me for a long time. And people might think, really? It affected you for a long time? It's like, yeah, this person was quite significant in my life, and, their opinion mattered. And now I'm of the belief of I don't care what people think. It's what I think of myself is what matters. It's not about, I don't, when you get to that point where you think, I don't care what you think, I'm going to tell you what is passionate to me, and what I think of you should not matter to you. When you get to that moment, I think that's really liberating. And that's when I think you truly feel free, because we're always worried about what other people think. So many people are worried about what other people think. Oh, I can't do that. What would people think? I've had 2 unsuccessful marriages. The first time was like, oh, what are people going to think? I'm going to be a divorcee, Well, when the second one came around, I was like, oh, who cares? That's what happens, life, right?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
No, that's brilliant. How about you went through melanoma too at one stage? How did you overcome that?
I was really lucky. My first husband, there was a big campaign here in Australia because Queensland, the state that I live in, is unfortunately the melanoma capital of the world. We have the most melanomas. And, whether you believe that it's sun-related or whether you believe it's a bit of genetics or, just you happen to have that type of skin or, I think there's a lot of different contributing factors. They had this big campaign on TV saying that, if you have a spot on your skin that looks like this, could be skin cancer. So he said to me, there's that mole in the middle of your back looks like that one on TV. Okay, well, I'm off to the doctor, and because, you can't see your back. And I got 3 moles removed and 1 came back as a melanoma. And so on the Monday morning, I came out the Wednesday. On the Monday morning, I got a phone call from my doctor. I was in at work, and he said, "Hi, Julie, it's Dr. Bennett. Are you sitting down?" And I said, "I am now." I said, "What?" And he said, "One of them's come back as a melanoma." And, this is 97. Not a lot was known about melanomas back then. And I was so, what does that mean? And he said, well, we need to go to hospital. We need to excise another area, a couple of centimetres around, make sure that we've got it all, test that, and go from there. So that was at 10 a.m. Monday morning. I had an appointment with the surgeon 10 a.m. the next day. And I walked into his office, I sat down, he looked at my results and he said, if you can come back at 12:30, I'll operate at 1. So it was, okay. So I rang my husband. I said, you need to take me to hospital. I'm coming home. You need to take me back to hospital. I'm being operated on today. Didn't have time to think, which was great. I was just bang in there. It was day surgery. So at 5:30, when I woke up and recovered, see you later, you go home now. I have a nice big Y in the middle of my back from my operation. But I was very lucky that stage 2, they did get it all. The fact that it was on my back and your skin's a lot thicker on your back, and the layers, that I think that's what saved me. And it's I didn't need any further treatment, which was great, except for the fact that I'm 6 monthly at a dermatologist to get further all my skin checked. And I will never stop that. That's always till I die. And, we've had a few that have been borderline melanoma since then. So for me, it's from that moment, I guess from the moment I had chlorine poisoning in 95, I looked for ways of how can I prevent situations like this coming up rather than trying to treat it once I've got it. So for me, it's always been about, alkalining my body, or making sure that I'm eating healthily, and that I'm not that I'm exercising and all those sort of things. So looking at ways to keep myself healthy, and so that my body can fight anything that's going to come up.
So you're a big believer in taking a holistic approach to things in preventative medicine. How has that led you to discovering about the body and just different remedies to help it?
So absolutely, I'm very much into holistic medicine. And it's given me that belief that the body is meant to heal, and that if we give our body the right tools, that we can heal. And, I think if you're, I think sometimes it's too late to start that once you've been diagnosed with something. There's, you can certainly implement a lot of holistic things. And, I have a lot of information that I have learned in the last couple of years of alternative therapies and things like that. And that's my go-to, so if I come across someone that's, got a bit of a health challenge, I'm like, okay, look at your diet. Are you off the sugar? Are you off the grains? Are you eating cleanly? What are you, let's look at that first, because what we put into our mouth is very significant. Our I don't know about your part of the world, but our part of the world, a lot of our soils are very depleted of minerals and nutrients. So the food that we're eating isn't very nutritionally dense. It's so you need to supplement with that to make sure that you're getting enough of what you need. So it's led me to a career in helping people that have got health challenges and helping them with a new technology that basically is getting the body to heal itself. And I'm seeing incredible results with people that have had all kinds of things. And for me, a lot of my sun damage literally falls off. So I'm pretty excited by it. And, I'll always go to my dermatologist, get checked. But she's confirmed to me, she goes, you just keep using that. And she hasn't had to burn or cut anything off me for the last 3.5 years. So, that's, I think we need to, in our environment, we're totally, like I don't use chemicals in the home. I use products that have got, silver weaved into them that helps disinfecting or, kill germs and stuff like that. I'm not a germaholic. When my son was little, I got him out there playing in the dirt and build up his immune system naturally. So there's ways that you can implement things that you can implement in your home that, help eliminate a lot of the chemicals. And, I don't know about you guys up there, but down here, you can access organic food, and, we grow a lot of our own food here. So, my partner, he built a lot of garden beds in, and, we've got pineapples growing, we've got pumpkins, we've got rock melon, we've got tomatoes, all our herbs, things like that. And it's really enjoyable. We don't have massive block of land, but utilized well, you can do anything. So, yeah, I love the holistic approach. And, I haven't been to my doctor for over 3 years. And, last time I asked for a referral to go to the dermatologist, they said, you need to come in. And I said, I'm not sick. And they said, you need to come in because we haven't seen you for 3 years. I'm like, oh, well, that's a good thing, right? So, yeah, it's a good space.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about the redox signaling? That's the technology you're talking about there. How did you come across that, and what is the redox signaling?
What it is? Yeah, so redox signaling is, I guess, what a lot of scientists are calling the greatest medical breakthrough since the discovery of penicillin and DNA. And it's actually in our bodies right now. We're making them every microsecond of the day. But as we age, we produce less of these redox molecules, and they're the ones that identify the damaged cells, and they repair them or they kill them and replace them. And I'm working with this technology and helping people to get their bodies to heal itself. And the way I came across it was that in the gym, I was working out 6 days a week, and I was super fit, and I did a push-up challenge, and I did some damage to my neck. Spent 8 months looking for a solution. So I, did the usual. I churned through 3 physios, acupuncture, Bowen therapy, scanner therapy, and came across this redox signaling, and it basically resolved the issue for me within 6 weeks. And so now I'm working with a pain specialist here in Brisbane, and We want to, help people that have got health challenges that, aren't being resolved, and that are really want to look for something outside the box and help them to resolve those issues.
That's a silver lining in the pain you had in your neck.
That's right. I'll tell you what, that was the worst 8 months of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. But, so how about you mentioned this before about having a firm commitment to be healthy. How important is that to somebody up in our mind that they're going to be healthy, and it's not just a half-hearted attempt at finding health again?
It's interesting, Dennis. After I resolved my issue and I was in a new relationship, I got lazy. For the first time in my life, I got lazy, and I wasn't exercising. And it was really interesting to hear my mind chatter when I say, when he'd say, let's go to the gym. I think, yeah, we'll start Monday, right? Because everything starts on a Monday. Mm-hmm. And it was on the Sunday, I'm sitting there going, I don't want to go. I don't want to go, and it was, and I just used to keep saying to myself, it's easy to do and it's easy not to do. And so now I'm trying to inspire others that, what, I'm on my way back to getting my fitness back. And, it's just one day at a time. And it's just making that, if you can team up with somebody, if you can have a exercise buddy, that whether for you, it's all you can do is walk around your house or walk the length of your house 3 times, or, if it's someone that's really, really overweight and really unfit, is it that you can walk from here to the lounge room and back again? And then tomorrow try and do it twice, then try and do it 3 times, and build up that way. Because we just have to make that line in the sand and say, I'm starting today. And for us, that's what it was. It was, we're starting today. And so now we're going to the gym, and the local gym, if people want to follow me on Instagram, I take these funny little photos, and this morning we're at the gym, and we had a bit of a sleep in today because we were working from home, and the gym was with a few people down the bottom where all the weights were, and they walked up to the top part of the gym, right? So I took a photo of me with this empty gym, and I'm like, this is what happens when you have a bit of a sleep in, you get the whole gym to yourself, and it's just having a bit of fun with it. It's not that I'm not going to the gym and I'm smashing myself, but each week I'm doing either one more rep, or I'm increasing my weights, or, today was chest and shoulders, and my partner squats, he supports me if I'm doing my bench press, and he said, do you need spotting? I said, yes, please, and I did it easily. And I'm like, I think I'm going to up the weight today because I feel really good, but still doing it sensibly. And I think it's just, you have that, if you can say to yourself, it's easy to do, it's easy not to do, but I'm going to do it. Because we all need to put ourselves first, because we all have families and we all have people that are relying on us in some way. And if we don't put ourselves first, how can we show up 100% for everybody else? And I'm a big advocate that we need to fill ourselves up first and make sure that we're 100% before we even think about helping anyone else. So that's all part of it. And so for me, it's a bit of a journey at the moment to show people, that, do you have Parkrun up there?
Parkruns?
Parkrun on a Saturday, people get out and they run 5K.
Yeah,
it might be an Australian thing.
And I'm sure there is running around here as well, but I'm not too sure whether it depends. Really. I'm not actively engaged, I guess, so I don't really know too well.
So here in Australia, you can turn up somewhere you can get online, search Parkrun, see if there's one in your area, and go and do it. And people travel to, they might have the 100th Parkrun at, a suburb in Brisbane, and people will travel to that spot just so they can run in the 5K and the 100th one. It's a bit of for runners, right? I'm not a runner. And I said to my partner a couple of weeks ago, okay, I'm going to start doing parkrun. I'm going to walk. And I teamed up some people to come with me, and they didn't show up. And so here I was going to do parkrun by myself, and I was like, damn it. And so I thought I'll just walk, I'll just walk quickly and do it that way. And so I walked about the first kilometre, and I just went, oh, this is going to take too long. I'll jog. So I sort of did jog, walk, jog, walk, jog, walk. And then the week later I had, I'd recruited 5 people, and then all of a sudden 5 people had come. And I was like, yay! And so then one of the girls that came was a girl I went to school with, and she's like, okay, let's jog the whole lot. And I'm like, jog the whole lot? And I said, I'm not that fit. And she goes, come on, we'll do it. And so we did. I think we walked maybe twice for about, 30 metres or so, and then jogged again. And, it's just about supporting each other, finding that person that's going to be your buddy, and going, you know what, let's do it. And you feel much better for it.
Yeah, taking action on it. So how would people go about finding you just online, or even in the real world in Australia?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I am under Julie McDonald with an MC, Julie McDonald OAM. So I'm easy to find because I was fortunate to receive Order of Australia medal from the Queen's Honours. And so last couple of years I've started using it. My son said, Mum, you need to actually use that, on your name. Okay, yep. So Julie McDonald OAM, would love you to follow me, send me a message. I do have a website, juliemcdonaldoam.com, and would love to hear from you. And if I can help in any way, would make my day.
What was it like receiving your OAM?
Pardon me?
What was it like receiving your OAM?
Well, it's an interesting process because you have to keep it secret. So you get a letter, you say you've been nominated to receive an OAM, but you may not receive it. We will inform you in a few months, but you can't tell anyone. So you're walking around going, oh, will I, won't I, will I, won't I? And then you get a letter and they say, congratulations, you've received an OAM and this is what it's for. You still can't tell anyone until you actually get called up to receive it. And for me, I received it from our Governor General here in Australia, Quinton Bryce, who's an amazing lady. And you rock up to Government House, and it's a lot of formalities. You are told you can do this, you can't do that. And it's, a real honour. It is such an honour. And I have it sitting up on my wall in front of me, actually. And whenever I wear a suit, I wear the small pin, and it is something to be proud of. And I got it for services to sport, for drug education with the Australian Olympic Committee, and for fundraising for charities. So it wasn't the fact that I didn't get it just for my sport, that I got it for things that I've actually given back and made a difference in other people's lives. For me, that was even more special. And it's a pretty significant thing.
Well, congrats, that sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Is there a final message you want to leave us with?
I think every moment, if you can identify every moment that you have a negative thought, or you start to doubt yourself, or you think about, oh, you can't do that. I want you to think about this. Somewhere in the world, someone's already done it. And if they can do it, you can do it. And if I can get up and win an Olympic medal from growing up in a small little suburb in Brisbane, though I wasn't super talented, but I worked really hard, that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. And all you have to do is believe it, and actually sit there and really see yourself in that role, or see yourself doing it. And if you can visualize it and believe it, then you can do anything that you want to achieve. And don't let anyone squash your dreams, because you get one life, and it goes so quickly. And I think that if you get up there and you really want to make a difference in the world, that get out there and have a go, because I know that in your heart at the end of the day you're going to feel the best you're ever going to feel about yourself. And if for those of you that are struggling a little bit with that, reach out, and I'd love to be able to give you some strategies on how to resolve that and take you to that next level, because we all deserve to have the life that we've always wanted to lead.
Great message. Thanks, Julie. Thanks again for being on the podcast and sharing your experience of being an Olympic athlete, what you've overcome, discovering who you are and your passions in life. So I think it's been very beneficial to see the process you've gone on. So thanks again for the time.
Thanks so much for having me, Dennis. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Until next time, have fun and enjoy the process.